everybody, and welcome back to Southeast by Midwest. I'm Cassie. This is Travis, my husband, and we are going to be doing a TV tag collaboration today. So if you want to know what this is about, just keep watching. So before we jump into this, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. First off, I'm going to start with the collaboration part. We are doing this in conjunction with some people from the Geeks and Beauties group. I know that a few of the other ones are also partnering up with people to do theirs as well. I know Laney is partnering up with her side geek. I believe she's using her brother Marshall this time. And I believe that Bethany is going to have responses from her husband. I don't know if she was able to get him on camera like I was able to talk Travis into doing, but she will at least put his responses like at the bottom. I like how she does that. That was really cool.
That was good, yeah.
So now the actual TV tag part is that we have a series. It was actually 2 different groups of questions and you could choose one or the other. We actually partnered them together, so we have quite a few questions here, but the way that we're going to do it is he's going to start out with the first question, then I'm going to do the next question, so on and so forth until we're done. So let's jump on in.
Alright, the first question is, what was the first TV show you watched? And I know I watched other shows before this, but I have a lot of memories of sitting and watching The Dukes of Hazzard with my grandfather in Savannah.
Mine is the same way. I probably watched shows before this, and if my mother watches this, she will for sure text me and be like, that is not the first show that you watched. Because she's like that. But the first show that I can remember watching was Night Court. I loved watching Night Court. It's probably not a show that a young child should watch.
Well, I watched it when I was younger too.
Well,
so.
I mean, I'm talking like 4 or 5.
So, kind of so.
Oh, okay. So, but my favorite character was Bull, the tall, bald-headed guy.
Whose favorite character wasn't Bull?
Loved him. All right. The next question is, what is your ultimate OTP of all TV shows? And that stands for One True Pairing. I have a few of here. My first and foremost is Pacey and Joey for Dawson's Creek. Then I also liked Saeed and Shannon from Lost. I loved them together. And then Sawyer and Juliet from Lost. And then, of course, Buffy. I believe Spike and Buffy was where it was at.
Alright, for me, Sawyer and Juliet are definitely one of my one true pairings because
they were great together.
I love Lost, and that Sawyer was my favorite character on Lost. And that was just the one true pairing I did not know I wanted.
Until it happened?
Until it happened. And then it was just like...
I definitely didn't like her with Jax. I just didn't know where the heck I wanted her until she got with Sawyer.
Yeah, but playing off of your Spike and Buffy, I'm a big fan of Angel and Cordelia. I know that's not a popular one.
They were good together. He brought out the better in her.
That's my case exactly. Cordelia brought out the best in Angel. Angel brought the best out of Cordelia. And if you've only watched Buffy and never watched Angel, you need to go watch it, because if you're basing it off of Cordelia as she was on Buffy, and you're like,
a little vapid.
Yeah. But she really grew as a character on Angel.
Oh, for sure.
And then my last one is one that happened for like 5 seconds on a show I love, and on Person of Interest, and that is Reese and Detective Carter. I paired them together.
You shipped them before shipping them was cool.
Exactly. I wanted those
like
two.
episode 1.
Exactly. I wanted those two together, and they had like 5 seconds in one episode. They had like a kiss, and then it wasn't able to happen because of reasons, no spoilers. Next question is, what character would you like to take out on a date? And honestly, there's no characters I want to take out on a date, and it's not just because I'm sitting next to my wife. It's just, well, when you're married to someone like this, why would you want to date anyone else? So, not as a romantic date, but I would want to take Dr. Walter Bishop from Fringe out for a movie and Licorice, just because if you've watched that show, you know how much he would...
That's his OTP.
Yeah.
Movies and Licorice.
And that's his OTP.
My response is a Pacey from Dawson's Creek, just because, I like Pacey. And then I can tell my 16-year-old self, look, you get to go on a date with Daisy. But it would be one of those things where it was just like, okay, let's double date. Me and you, him and Joey, and... Yeah.
Well, you could always do Peter and Olivia instead of Pacey and Joey.
This is true. Could do them, but I don't like Olivia.
Next question.
Next question is, which shows are you watching at the moment? And there are quite a few that we're currently bouncing around between. We started Vampire Diaries and watching that.
Yeah.
Currently going through the DC show.
Well, we're about to
start the last season of Arrow, Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow. Currently watching the Great British Baking Show, and I'm watching from the beginning, going back through so that I can catch up on the most recent season, Call of the Midwife.
Of course, I'm watching basically the same shows that you're watching because we watch TV together. I'm not watching Call of the Midwife. When you watch, when you watch that, I'm usually reading a book or something. The only one I'm watching separately and showing my maturity level is Transformers Prime.
But to be fair, you're watching it with Norby.
Yeah,
Norby loves it.
I'm watching it with one of our bearded dragons.
And it's usually like in the mornings before I get up, or when I go to bed early, or something like that.
But also, seriously, especially coming from somebody that watched the show as a kid, the original Transformers as a kid, it's actually surprisingly deep for a kid's show. Next question, which ended TV show deserves an extra season? Okay, I'm just going to take the easy answer on this one and say Firefly. It deserved at least another 10 extra seasons.
To be fair, it would have gotten it if they hadn't aired it out of order.
Yeah, if they hadn't aired it out of order, and I think they put it on like Friday nights.
Yeah. Mine is Pushing Daisies.
Oh, that's a good choice.
That was a very kind of off-the-wall little show, and I wish more people had given it a chance instead of just considering it weird and just kind of knocking it off.
Yeah, sadly, a lot. Brian Fuller did that show. A lot of his shows wind up like that.
They're quirky.
Yeah, Hannibal was one of his, and it wound up like that. Heroes was originally, he was the showrunner on it.
The next question is, which TV show do you want to watch? I'm currently only watching the Vampire Diaries just to get to the originals. So, the originals, no lie. I want to give Midnight Texas a try because we did watch True Blood, Charlaine Harris's True Blood, and I like Charlaine Harris. I want to give it a try, but I want to kind of see how it does first, so I don't want to jump in right yet. And I've always wanted to watch The West.
For me, most of what I want to watch is just catch up on stuff that we've already started catch up on, the past seasons. Like, I want to finish Grimm. I know we have like a season and an episode of that to watch, and I loved Grimm. I want to finish last season of The Walking Dead because honestly, I read the comic books, and this arc with Negan is what I've been waiting for them to get to on the show. I basically watched 6 seasons of the show to get to Negan. Supernatural, because heck,
I'm sensing a Jeffrey Dean Morgan thing.
But Supernatural, because we've watched this much of Supernatural, and Crowley's awesome. But one show that we haven't watched any of that I want to go and watch is Leverage, because of Christian Kane bringing back Angel. From Angel, he was Lindsay, the lawyer on Angel, and I really liked Lindsay. Our next question is, have you ever watched an entire TV show again or watched multiple times? Okay, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, Firefly, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Next Generation, and Voyager, Futurama, me personally, I think I've watched that like 4 times now. Person of Interest, I've watched 2 or 3 times. Also Lost, I think we've watched it a couple times. Did I miss anything?
No, that's about it. Mine are all the same with his, except I've watched Charmed.
Yeah, I've watched that with you multiple times too.
And Dawson's Creek. Okay, next question. Which TV show did you watch but gave up on after a while? Everybody is going to hate me for this. Gilmore Girls. I have tried so hard. We've tried it multiple times. He's okay with it. I just can't.
Yeah, I mean, it's on it, and a lot of people are going to hate me too. It's like, I don't like you or your husband.
It's not that I dislike the show. It looks like a good show. I just can't get into it. It's just not a show for me.
I think it's because we came to it after the fact, and everybody's just hyped it to.
Yeah, it's just
like you want it to be, a revelation amongst TV shows, and it's just like. For me, I've given up on several shows. Grey's Anatomy, I think I watched that all the way through with you, and then we watched.
Which is one that I've watched multiple times because I watched it myself, then with you, then with your mom.
And I was gonna say we watched it over again with my mother, trying to introduce her to the show.
And now she watches it and we don't.
Yeah, I don't watch it because my favorite character is Alex.
And he always gets the short.
Yeah, it's like he has such a great character arc, from being the evil doctor, I can't remember what Christina calls him at one point, evil spawn.
Yeah.
And to being actually really probably the best doctor and the best human being on the show, but constantly he just gets trashed on. Then there's Once Upon a Time, because no one ever learns a lesson.
It's always the same thing over and over and over.
It's like, we think Regina's evil. Regina's not evil. Regina's going to actually help us. Next season, Regina's evil again. We think Regina's evil. And then Pretty Little Liars.
It just kind of meandered through after a bit. They drug it on too long.
And that's the thing, I think it was about season 5 where you're supposed to get like the past 2 seasons have been taking place over the course of like 1 month. And it was just at that point, it's like you take a step back. Do I want to keep on? I think
the last episode I watched was when Allison was she had gotten put in like the psychiatric hospital, and she was marrying that guy.
Yeah, I think that's the last one we did watch. Next question is, what character would you want to be for a day? This one's easy. I would want to be the Doctor from Doctor Who. Because if you're the Doctor, that means you have the TARDIS, which means you have access to time travel, which means you are not bound by normal temporal restrictions.
My answer would be Micah from Warehouse 13. I liked her overall character. She's just like an average person that kind of was thrown into this kooky and wacky stuff, but she's also really she knows a lot about books. She reads a lot. And she's surrounded by like this great group of friends. She lives at the bed and breakfast, and they live in like the Dakotas?
Yeah, South Dakota.
Yeah, so it's not like sweltering hot. So just like the whole atmosphere. I like it.
I can see it.
All right, next question. Best TV pilot. For me, it would be Lost.
I'm going to go with a different J.J. Abrams show. And go with Person of Interest, which actually features somebody from Lost. We go from the best to the worst. Worst TV pilot. And it's weird to say this because it's a show that we both love, but mine is Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
That pilot was rough.
If you are honest, you go back and you watch that first pilot. Yeah, it's like...
Her and that little sucker.
More than that is Lucas, the master's right hand. His acting.
Alright, mine is a Doctor Who.
Another show we love. But the first episode of the relaunch, when you come in with the 9th Doctor, and it's with the nesting duplicates. The next question is best series finale, and my pick is Angel. I love how they kind of just the way that they end it. I don't want to give away spoilers. It was difficult. This was probably the most difficult category for me.
You waffled.
Hi. I waffled back and forth on this, but I went with MASH.
That was a good one. I cried.
I admit I cried a lot during that episode. Worst series finale.
You want it on the count of 3?
1, 2, 3. How I Met Your Mother.
Favorite TV actress? For me, it is Allison Hannigan. I love her acting.
For me, Amy Acker. And if you don't know who Amy Acker is, because honestly, Amy Acker is not a household name. She was Fred on Angel. She plays this character she always plays somebody that could be like super bright and cheerful and everything, and then all of a sudden she has just this dark turn and she pulls it off so well. So we've talked about favorite TV actress. We need to talk about favorite TV actor. And for me, once again, going back to Person of Interest, going back to Lost, it's Michael Emerson, who played Benjamin Linus on Lost, played Finch on Person of Interest.
Do you know what my favorite scenes with him are?
What's that?
The ones with him and Carrie Preston in Person of Interest.
Yes.
Since they're married in real life, you could just see it on his face.
Exactly. For me, my favorite part about Michael Emerson is you look at him. He looks like he's like 100 pounds soaking wet. He's like just a small framed guy. Yet through his acting on Lost and on Person of Interest, you just whenever he's in the room, you would feel like that is the scariest person in the room.
Mine is Sterling K. Brown.
Solid choice.
What I love is that you don't really think about him if you only watch one thing with him. So like he was in Army Wives.
Right.
A lot of people might know him from that. He was
Roland.
And then you flip over and he was in several episodes of Supernatural.
In a completely different role.
Exactly. And it's just, that's what I love about him. He goes from shows to shows and he plays these supporting characters and you don't really think about it. And I didn't really think about it until he popped up in This Is Us as the little boy that they adopt. And he winds up being the adult version. And it's like, that is a completely different character from anything he's ever played. And it made me stop and think. And he is just, out of all of the TV actors that I've watched, he's the most versatile. Next is most disappointing cancellation. And for me, it is Heart of Dixie. Why, Anakin, why? Why did you have to ruin something else? First you have to ruin the whole Jedi Order, and now you gotta go ruin Heart of Dixie. And all because in both times he couldn't keep it in the pants.
Quickly explain, Hayden Christensen, who played Anakin, got his wife Rachel Bilson pregnant, and because she was pregnant and wanted to be a mom, she decided to walk away from Heart of Dixie.
And it was so good. It was getting so good.
Yeah. For me, the most disappointing cancellation, and I already said Firefly should have had another season, so that goes without saying. So I'm gonna go a different way. I'm gonna say Heroes. Not the soft relaunch that he did, Heroes Reborn, I think it was. Mm-hmm. But the original Heroes, because the first season and a half of Heroes was excellent. And then the writer's strike back then just really hit it hard. But spoiler, ending it where Claire, Hayden Panettiere's character, reveals basically that these heroes exist and outs them to the media. I would have loved to have seen the continuation of that with that original cast. Best opening titles is our next question. And I have two. One, Firefly. Because if you watch Firefly and you don't sing along that song, there's... And then Game of Thrones. I will hum the theme to Game of Thrones constantly. I love the music on. And not only that, I love the imagery of the opening, showing the different cities.
My absolute favorite opening is True Blood. Not because of the, well, some of the openings are like totally true to life from
the imagery
from living in Louisiana. But then some of them, like you got the scene that plays through with the couple, gyrating all over each other. Unnecessary in my opinion. Well, I mean necessary for the show, but you get what I mean. That part, isn't my favorite. But like some of the scenes, like the guy sitting on the porch, rocking in the rocking chair, and what I love is True Blood is set in Louisiana, where I'm from. However, I was not born in Louisiana. I was born in Evansville, Indiana. And the guy who did the theme song for True Blood is from Evansville, Indiana. And I was like, my life! Alright, next question is favorite female character. And for me, all day long is River Song from Doctor Who.
For me, favorite female character, first one's from Game of Thrones, and it's not who you think, but Arya. Arya Stark. I love seeing her from innocent tomboy, go from innocent tomboy to homicidal vengeance machine. My second favorite is from Person of Interest, and going back to Amy Acker, is Root. Root is such a great character because you're never quite sure where her loyalties lie. She tells you one thing, but you're always like, I'm not sure I trust her.
The only time I ever trusted her is when it dealt with Samine.
Yeah. Talked about favorite female. Now it's time for favorite male. Once again, from person of interest.
Well, we know where this is ending for you.
Yeah. Spoilers. It's Finch. Michael Emerson's character. I list Amy Actor as my favorite actress. That's a root. Now Michael Emerson. Finch is. He playing off of Michael Emerson once again. He's just this really meek-looking character, but he's super smart, and he has a habit that if you threaten his friends, he can turn dark so quickly. He can go from being this guy that, you know, wouldn't hurt a fly, he's all about saving people, to I'm about to kill you.
Mine is Pacey from Dawson's Creek. I loved Pacey. You can ask him from well, he knows after the fact, but back when I actually watched the pilot episode when I was a teenager, I liked Pacey more than I liked Dawson. You'll realize that here in a second. Pacey was my favorite character on Dawson's Creek. I loved Joshua Jackson so much that I watched Skulls, which brings us to least favorite character. The way that we're doing this is we're going to do a least favorite female and a least favorite male. That way you don't feel like we're, you know, female or male bashing anything. So my least favorite female character.
You might want to preface both of ours with spoilers.
Yeah, there are going to be spoilers here to tell you why they're our least favorite. So my least favorite female character is Olivia from Law and Order SVU. It's like every time she's two modes. The guy is either 100% innocent or 100% guilty, no matter what. No in-betweens or anything else. And for me, that's one, not the good position of a cop to have, I would think.
Oh yeah.
And secondly, she becomes the captain.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's a good position for the captain to have.
My least favorite female is Catelyn Stark from Game of Thrones, and that's coming from the show and the books on that. I feel sorry for her because of like what happens to Bran and everything, but she is really a difficult person to like. Yes, I get that Jon Snow was supposed to be her husband's illegitimate son with another woman, but she still treated him like garbage. It wasn't Jon Snow's fault. And it's just, no matter what she did good, no matter what she had happen to her, if you want to treat somebody badly, treat your husband badly for doing that. If you treat the other woman badly, but the child had nothing to do with it. And Jon Snow obviously loved her children and would do anything.
Least favorite male character for me is, like I said, you would find out before, is Dawson. Hands down, out of all shows, I cannot stand Dawson. I felt like he was very whiny. I felt like he was very preachy. I felt like he used people and he didn't care. But if anybody did it to him, i.e. Pacey at one point, it was the end of the world. They were the worst people ever, but it didn't matter what he did to other people.
Alright, least favorite male character for me is Ted from How I Met Your Mother. Because simply, I feel like he makes the entire series horrible. TV crush. I think we went with this because we don't have TV crushes now because we're so in love.
Yeah.
So I think we both went with childhood crushes on this one.
So you know where mine's gonna be.
Yeah. In fact, I was supposed to take this question first. Why don't you go ahead and do it?
It's Pacey from Dawson's Creek. Y'all know. We've already been there. I think it's why he doesn't want to watch Dawson's Creek with me.
For me, I actually had a hard time thinking of this, but seriously, the person I came up with was Clarissa from Nickelodeon's Clarissa Explains It All. I did have a crush on her when I was a kid, and I kind of find it funny now because we were talking about this while setting it up. Is filled with sass. Her best friend is a guy.
I always had guy friends. I hardly ever had girlfriends.
Has an annoying younger brother. Oh my god! If you're watching this, hi John.
And sister. I got double dosed.
Has an affection for cute reptiles.
I had a turtle when I was younger.
So, Yeah, I had a crush on Clarissa, and might explain why I married who I married.
All right, next is favorite childhood TV show. And you guys might want to sit down and grab some popcorn for this one because there's quite a few on here for both of us. I've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original Power Rangers, not one of the 60 renditions that they did after the fact, but the original one with like Amy Jo Johnson.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yeah. Ghost Rider. Hardly anybody ever knows of that show, but I used to love that show.
And Wishbone too.
Oh yeah, Wishbone was great. Animaniacs. I used to watch that a lot. Hidden Temple, even when I was a kid though, I wanted to be on it so bad, but I laughed at how bad it was. Batman the Animated Series was excellent. I loved it when I was younger. And then of course the Disney shows. Chip, Chip, Chip. Never mind. Chip and Dale. I almost did the song.
Yeah, I did.
Tailspin, and there's Darkwing Duck, DuckTales.
I liked a lot of shows that you did. Almost all of the Nickelodeon game shows. Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Okay.
I watched all of them religiously. Legends of the Hidden Temple, Guts, then Global Guts. Wild and Crazy Kids is another one.
I never watched that one.
Double Dare. Love Double. Do you know Omar Gooding, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s brother, was actually one of the hosts of Wild and Crazy Kids?
Really?
Yeah. Transformers, the original Transformers. I know everyone in the 90s loved Beast Wars, never could get into it. I'm talking about original.
I tried one episode.
Original 80s Transformers. Loved Optimus Prime. Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
People should remember that today.
Yeah.
Not to get political or anything, but
like you, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Raphael was the best. There's no question.
and Michelangelo. It's a tie.
Okay.
It's so true.
Batman the Animated Series, still the best rendition of Batman. The Disney afternoon shows, Chip and Dale, DuckTales, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, all of those. And then the Warner Brothers afternoon shows, Animaniacs, Tiny Toons. I think Hysteria I watched too. I didn't watch Freakazoid. Next is favorite teen TV shows. This was another hard question for me because
Narrowing down what was actually considered a teen TV show.
yeah, there was a lot of that, but at the same time, I didn't watch a lot of the teen TV shows in the 90s. I played.
Just to clarify though, we based this off of shows where they were actually high schoolers in the show.
Yeah.
That's how we decided it. Now go ahead.
Yeah, as a kid, I watched a lot of shows my parents watched. I played a lot of video games. I watched a lot of movies, and I kept watching a lot of shows I watched as a kid, which you'll see in my answer. So I went with a show that you actually introduced me to, and that's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Mm-hmm. I don't need to sing the greatness of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We've already done that, plus you'll probably do it here in your answer. And Power Rangers, you know, I still like Power Rangers. I still ship the pink and the green Ranger.
Alright, mine is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I loved that show. I watched it every week. I even suffered through season 4 when it aired. So that means I waited week by week for those sucky episodes. Of course, Dawson's Creek. You know, I've mentioned it 50 bajillion times in this tag, so it had to be put in there.
The wall, y'all. He gave her a wall.
Also, My So-Called Life was great. And I loved Sister, Tia and Tamara. Alright, the next question is a fastest binge watch. And for me, that was Warehouse 13. We went through that like super fast.
The only other show I binged almost as fast is Doctor Who. And admittedly, I was a jerk and went through this ahead of you. Show I regret watching. Do you want to do this one on 3?
Alright, 1, 2, 3. How I Met Your Mother.
Spoilers, huge spoilers, but like the reason Ted is my least favorite character is because we basically spent 9 seasons.
And we watched that stuff live.
With the ending, you know, we spent 9 seasons him telling this story to his kids, basically as an excuse to hook up with Robin. Seriously.
Favorite animated show? For me, it is the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Love it. I loved it so much I watched the movies, all 3 of them.
For me, Batman the Animated Series. I'm a huge Batman fan. I haven't read as much of the comics as I wish I had. I love most of the Batman movies, the current ones being the exception, and the Joel Schumacher ones. But to me, the definitive depiction of Batman is the animated series. Kevin Conroy as Batman, Mark Hamill as the Joker, Arlene Sorkin as Harley Quinn. Great writing. And a lot of, even the stories that did not feature named villains. Like, The Grey Ghost is the perfect example. That was such an amazing episode featuring the now late Adam West as a washed up TV superhero.
That was good.
It's an amazing, it's on actually on Amazon Instant Streaming. Even if you don't have kids, you deserve to go back and watch it if you're interested in Batman. Next is favorite guilty pleasure show. It's not really a guilty pleasure, but it's not one of those things that would be really cool if people found out I liked it. So I didn't watch it as a kid. She actually turned me on to it. And that's The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross. Bob Ross, I don't know what it is about it. I guess it's just calm and comforting, and just listening to him talk as he paints this stuff.
Mine are cooking shows. I love watching cooking shows. I'm just saying, good shows.
I like your curves.
Favorite miniseries is next, and for me, that is Alice, alternate telling of Alice in Wonderland. And it stars the girl that plays Amelia Derrick's sister on Grey's Anatomy and Private Practice. And I really like the guy that played Hatter.
For me, I'm gonna go with sci-fi too, and go with Tin Man, which is basically steampunk meets Wizard of Oz.
Loved it.
If you've never seen it, it stars Zooey Deschanel, Neil McDonough.
Oh, he's great in it.
Yes, he is. Alan Cumming, who's great in it. Next is most embarrassing watch. So I went with something where I would just be ashamed if people knew I watched it, knew I liked it. And I know there's a lot of fans for this show, but for me, I am embarrassed that I ever watched True Blood. You know, we at the very beginning, both of us really got into the show to the point that we actually read all of the books.
And that's where the embarrassment comes in at.
And it's just...
Because the show, the writers and her got into like a little tiff or something, and it shows in her writing after a certain point, and in their episodes after a certain point. For me, it is Glee. We actually went through watching Glee. I have a lot of their music that we got off of iTunes and stuff like that. I really liked the show, and then it kind of got to the point where the new class came in. And about that time is it kind of started to get where it was like, why did I ever watch this?
For me, it wasn't even a new class. For me, it was when they got to New York.
All right, and it's apropos that this is the question. This is my last question to give, and it's so great that this is mine. Character whose wardrobe I'd most like to steal. And you would think I would go with something like nice and flashy. But it would be Micah from Warehouse 13. I love that kind of just style that she has, just the jeans, the kind of blousey t-shirt, sometimes a jacket over it. When they're at the bed and breakfast, you know, she's sweatpants and jeans and sneakers. It's actually stuff I would actually wear in real life.
For me, if I was like way smaller,
it's actually lost a lot of weight.
For me, I would want Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly, just because a lot of stuff that he wears, I can actually see myself wearing. You know,
I totally could.
More comfortable, rustic stuff. And come on, who doesn't want the brown trench coat? Who doesn't want to be a brown coat? If you watch a show and you say, no, I don't want that brown coat, you're lying. We ended on favorite show of all time. We decided to do something a little bit different with this because it's something I've ranted and railed to her about for years. It's like when you get to the Emmys or you get to the Oscars and you get down to the best picture, best show category, it's like once you nominate 5 to 10 shows or films, how do you say this is the bestest of the best? Yes, I know bestest isn't a word, but you know, what makes one show that much better? And so it was kind of the same thing. You know, we have a lot of shows that we love. We can narrow it down to like 5 each that we would consider our favorites. And, you know, how did one top the other? So
No particular order.
yeah, no particular order.
Do you want to do all 5 of yours, or you want to alternate?
I say we alternate.
Right.
I do have one that I consider my favorite by an inch, so I'm gonna save that one for last. And I'm gonna start with, by the way, potential spoilers here on these. I'm gonna start with Grimm. It was a fairy tale show that started at the same time as Once Upon a Time, another fairy tale show. And I feel like Once Upon a Time often overshadows it. But what I love about Grimm is that if you go back, you watch from the first episode to where we left off anyway, you can see steady character growth from everyone.
And then everybody learned.
Everybody learned from their mistakes. Everybody, I just love shows that actually have character growth. And it had good writing, it had great acting, and I cannot wait to go back and finish. I hope they don't disappoint me with the finale.
My first one is Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I love all of the characters. Actually, it was a contender for best pilot for me, because a lot of people hate it as a pilot, but I love it. You have the Next Generation came in, several of the cast members from the Next Generation were in there. You had Cisco come in. You saw his back history from an episode in, you know, Star Trek The Next Generation. You were supposed to get, he was there. So you have that. And then he has his like growth moment in the pilot. And basically everything that you need to know about the series is in that pilot episode. And it just got better and better and better. The characters grew, the characters ungrew and grew again, and it was actually like watching an actual, what you would see in real life at a space station.
Yeah, honestly, I'm going to continue on the love of Deep Space Nine because that made my list as well. Honestly, I was never a huge Trek fan. I was more of a Star Wars fan, and I grew up in an era where if you were a Star Wars fan, you had to be militant towards Star Trek. You could not like one or the other. So Cassie actually introduced me to Star Trek. You know, we went back and watched the original 6 movies, and then Next Generation, their movies. I know a lot of Trek purists don't like Deep Space Nine for whatever reasons. I think a lot of it's because Roddenberry himself didn't create it. But it really stuck with me for a lot of the same reasons. It actually felt like this was a crew of people instead of just everyone get along, like Next Generation was. There was never really any lasting conflict with the characters on Next Generation. And Cisco, everybody can talk Kirk and Picard all day long. Cisco to me is the best captain in the Star Trek universe. I loved Cisco from start to finish.
My next one is Warehouse 13, and I chose it on the list because I loved it from the first episode. There were a couple of times that you wanted to give it a little bit of a break, and I still wanted to power through. And it's the first show in a long time that I've wanted to do that with, so I knew it had to make my top list.
For me, the next one is Fringe. Show that I wasn't at first going to give a chance, but after you talked me into it, I absolutely loved it. Once again, everybody was great in it. The writing was spot on, and it was fun to watch a sci-fi series that focused on actual science. Maybe pseudoscience, but actual science. Instead of space aliens and laser beams.
My next one is Charmed. I loved it when it was first airing. I've watched it multiple times since then. I loved all of the chemistry between all of the sisters. I loved all of the chemistry when they brought in someone else. The guys played real well off of each other and off of the sisters, and overall it was a great show with great storyline.
Next, I'm gonna say Angel. Because while I liked Buffy, I love Buffy, it would probably be like number 6 on my list of favorite shows. Angel was darker. To me it was better because it had one continuous villain basically from start to finish in Wolfram and Hart. And I liked a lot of the relationships that developed on Angel more than I liked the ones that develop on Buffy.
For me, I have to go with the original and say Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because to kind of get to Angel, you had to have Buffy. So you had to go back to like their roots. I feel like Angel had good storylines in Angel, but you had Angelus. You know, you had Spike, you had Faith, you had, you know, the Scoobies, you had Giles, you know, a lot of great characters were there. There were a lot of great storylines. Yes, it did have one bad season. Angel had a bad season too, though. It wasn't as bad, but my thing with Angel, though, is I did not necessarily watch all of it when it aired live. So, and that kind of tells me something.
Right.
So.
Lastly for me, if you've been listening to this list, you'll probably already guess this. My absolute favorite show, for whatever reason, is Person of Interest. To me, I think most of all, I love Person of Interest because it was broadcasted on network TV on CBS, a network that doesn't do sci-fi shows. And it snuck in there with everybody thinking it was just going to be a high-tech crime movie. You know, it was basically solving crimes with the aid of a computer. But about halfway through the mid-season, you start realizing they just snuck a sci-fi show in to primetime network TV. And I absolutely loved it for it.
My last one is Supernatural. I love Supernatural. I love the fact that Jensen Ackles, I actually watched him when he did some of the Disney movies when he was younger, and also in Days of Our Lives. So when he was casted in Supernatural, I loved it. Jared Padalecki, I did not know of him before, but I loved him. I love all of their interactions. Castiel, Mark A. Shepard, Crowley, who comes in. And I also liked Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I originally saw him in Grey's Anatomy first because I didn't start Supernatural when it aired. So to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan go from Denny Duquette to their father was great. So I love the show overall, and even when people complain about there being bad episodes, you know, you have like when they mention them themselves, I'm like, I didn't consider that a bad episode. So you know, when you don't consider their bad episodes, it's a favorite.
Yeah. So
that was the TV tag and collab. Hopefully you liked it. I know it's going to be really long because this has been 90 minutes worth of filming. So I'm going to have to trim in here, and I don't know exactly where and how I'm going to do it. And I don't think I can upload 90 minutes. But hopefully you had fun. Let us know in the comments what your favorite show or shows of all time are. And make sure to hit the subscribe button and to click the bell, because I have more videos that I'm about to film here. So we should be uploading 5 days a week. So you don't want to miss any of those. Make sure you follow me on the social media linked down below so you don't miss any like behind the scenes kind of things and other posts and stuff that I do. I don't know if I mentioned it, but make sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with all your friends because it really does help. And until next time, bye!
I don't know if I'll have it next time, so farewell.